Well,
So
so
today we're starting our personal offerings, right?
we're starting our personal offerings for Psalm 23. And Annika will be in the chat with the list, but we're going to start with Lori Croatman, Marilyn, Michon, and Sarah, all of whom said that they wanted to do it today. So Lori, are you ready to go?
Oh, yeah. Wow. First, that's nerve-wracking.
Okay, hold on.
Not really. I'm okay.
Put this on.
So, find it? Okay.
Yeah, I'm having shoulder surgery next week, so I wanted to. I'll be in the hospital, and I'll be in the hospital, so I wanted to read this prior.
Hold on, I lost it. Let me get back here.
I think they finished the program. I don't know.
All right, Lori,
Always
here we go. Let me make it full screen, and we are all yours.
It's too early. Let me get it back to you.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
A
Everyone,
psalm,
everyone, please mute. We're hearing someone on the phone. Go ahead.
Sorry.
a psalm of aging, my rods and my staff. If I lie down in green pastures, it's hard to get back up these days. If I repose in the water, reemergence is not easy anymore. If I take a walk in the woods, the best path is the flattest one. Though I have had dark days and nights, hip and shoulder replacements, the rods that substitute for my bones, and the walking stick I need to keep my balance, support, and comfort me. I cannot do this alone. Then again, I never could. But knowing that I need help and asking for it is another story. It is only in the twilight of my life that I have learned to lean on something greater than myself and not think less of myself because of it. Tranquility and love are always there when I remember to look and accept them with grace.
Wow, Lori, this is a fantastic insight into this psalm, and what a fantastic insight and use of those metaphors for this specific lens. So, talk to us about writing it from Psalm 23.
Well, I wrote it right away because I wasn't going to do this psalm because I've read it like a gazillion times, and I thought, oh, I can't ever get out of just the rote saying of it. And then I just stepped back, centered myself, and I said, I'm looking at this as like I'm looking at this as if I've never read it before. And that helped me. And I thought, and this is, of all my psalms, I think this is the closest I've stayed to the, to the words and to the imagery in it. But, I couldn't live. I wouldn't be, I don't even know if I'd be alive without my rods.
Yeah.
And the things that keep me upright and keep me going. And so it's a huge metaphor for me that it's okay to ask for help, which I never could do.
Yeah.
And that I'm not a less person if I ask someone to help me, which I always grew up thinking. So, I've come to terms that, okay, I have these things and I'll have more things and I'll go off crazy at the airport and that's all okay. It's all okay because there's something bigger than me that supports me. That's really the bottom line.
Yeah.
There's something bigger than me that supports me. And if I can get into that space of knowing that, then my heart stops fluttering and I'm just a little calmer.
Like the Zalman, you don't panic in the face of it. Yeah, it still exists, but you don't panic in the face of it. I just love this. And to call it a psalm of aging is fantastic. And I really love what you do. Hold on, lying down in green pastures, it isn't necessarily the image of that for some of us is, how am I going to get back up again? I just love that. That's such a creative entry point. And again, using the rods and staff in that way to understand the rods as substitute for my bones and the walking stick I need to keep my balance. These support and comfort me. Really, really beautiful. And yeah, getting to the place of needing help and being able to ask for it. Very powerful. Beautiful, Lori. I am so glad you didn't pass on this.
Right, yes.
Thanks, Rabbi. Thank you.
Really.
Marilyn?
Okay, here we go. I just detected a little typo in my thing. Okay. Hashem is my support. Dear God, you are my shepherd as I travel on this journey. You nudge me to take action and wake me up to notice what I overlook. When I stray, you strengthen and support me. You are my Mish'an. I feel your presence as I move through dangers, criticisms, and the hard times that feel life-threatening. There are those who speak for you, holding and encouraging me on the path, telling me the truth in a loving way. From the beginning, there were my grandma, my cantor, Mrs. Koshar, then my shrink, and Jill M, and SKP, and now my rabbi and Frank H. All guides you have sent to light my way. Through my tears, I see the light as my cup overflows with surprises and new adventures. Kindness, support, and protection will follow me as long as I live on this earth and onto your world to come, Gan Eden.
Wow, Marilyn, this is so powerful. Speak to us.
Well, support, Mish'an, that's my name.
Uh-huh.
And so that's why I that word is in there. I knew it was in the Amidah. It's also in this psalm, and I was very excited when I discovered that. And I really took that day when you said, "Who has been your shepherd?" Talk to each other about that. That really moved me to thinking about that and what that means. So there, I put some personal stuff in there.
Uh-huh.
And then the thing about the surprises and adventures, well, this weekend, I mean, I wrote this before this weekend, but this weekend I actually went to a Sephardic synagogue a few blocks away from here, a little further than the Chabads, and I met a second cousin and my mother's best friend's daughter. I mean, it surprises and
Uh-huh.
adventures, and it's hard. And as you know, I've been sad, and I'm just trying to get support and love wherever I can, and then know that the hard times are short-lived, hopefully.
Uh-huh. Very beautiful. And I think this is very moving to acknowledge that guides that you have come to you because of this connection to the beginning. Hashem is my support. You are my shepherd, but the part of being a shepherd is helping you find other shepherds, right? It's not that we have different kinds of guides, and through my tears, I see the light. My cup overflows, which I like the imagery of tears being the wetness, and cup overflows connected to those tears with surprises and new adventures. They're not always full of joy, but they're new and they're part of life. Very beautiful, very beautiful.
And also the idea that the world to come, there's this world, there's this, as long as I live on this earth, and then who knows what adventures await in the next life, right?
Wow. Marilyn,
Beautiful.
what was it that you wanted changed?
Oh, I just, there's something, I don't know, I'm reading from my own. I don't know how you.
But get back to me and we'll change it.
Okay, there might just be a couple of words.
Monica,
at the
who
end.
is the Sarah? Who is the next reader?
Sarah Sloan.
Okay. Whoops. Hold on. Nope, Sarah Sloan. Sarah Siegel's playing golf. It's Wednesday. All right. Sarah Sloan, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm going to read from my paper.
Okay.
Adonai envelops me in a puffy cloud. I'm protected in the cloud and wish only for contentment. The cloud floats over calming green pastures and flowing rivers. Its direction guides me toward safe paths. As we float through dangerous areas amidst dark rain clouds, I yearn to know contentment, even as I sense I'm protected. The cloud provides comfort when my enemies are visible and active. I know that I will be protected by Adonai's cloud all the days of my life, even as I yearn for contentment. I pray that the protective clouds will be my forever home.
Wow, Sarah. Speak to us. I'm very eager to hear about the cloud imagery here.
Well, I've always had an image of my God, however I define God at that particular moment, as living in a protective cloud. A very, like a puffy cloud, like the cloud in the Peanuts cartoon.
Uh-huh.
And I wasn't going to write this psalm. I've only written one before. And I actually wasn't going to write because I'm so familiar with Psalm 23 in the Hebrew and so comfortable with it there that it seemed like chutzpah to try and write a translation. But I sort of got bullied into it.
Well, I'm glad you did, because I think this is this is an example of a personal offering that goes to kind of the sense or the feeling of the psalm and then creates a new metaphor entirely for it, which I love. And I think you did a fantastic job, Sarah. And I'm glad, that is the danger of something so well known. You imagine there isn't another way to see it or another way to bring some new twist or a new angle of the prism. And I think you've done that beautifully here, Sarah. Really beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing this. And Sarah points out something that for those who do know the Hebrew, sometimes there's an obstacle because you think you know it too well, right? And then what you have to do in writing your own offering is to distance yourself a little bit from what you think you know really well in order to get to something that's a new perspective. But this, I'm sure it'll influence the way I see the Psalms, Sarah, and I'm sure it'll influence you when you are reading it in Hebrew.
I think so. I hope so.
If I could just ask a question, Sarah, I know your Jewish knowledge is deep. Were you thinking of the cloud that when God led the Israelites in the desert, the cloud by day and the
Yamud
cloud
Anan.
by night?
Not at all. If anything, I was thinking of the clouds that were setting when I said Ma'ariv at Camp Ramah.
Okay,
Beautiful.
all right. So I think we're now at Sherry Dratfield. We're back to the beginning. Sherry?
Yes, hi. Well, as you might expect, I actually was going to write this because I write each one, but I did have a little difficulty. I entitled this day, guided this day of plenty. I recline on a blanket of silky grass. Souls reposing underneath release springs of clear water. Rested, no unknown currents divert me from the broad path I tread. This day, canopied trees filter the streaming sun as I pass through. Mountains and valleys behind and ahead. The sun sets this day as I reach a steep vale. I descend till deep darkness has risen. Hidden in its shadow protected, I join night. A simple meal sustains me. I toss bread bits, cheese to eyes glistening far enough away. I leave a gourd of water full in offering to this evening's creatures. Finally, I tire. Beneath one tree in an immense grove, I lie down, sink from dark into deeper darkness. Bathed in red cedar scent, I dream of dawns, endless.
Wow, Sherry. And I love that this thing that you write here, this mountains and valleys behind and ahead, the sun sets this day as I reach a steep. I descend till deep darkness has risen, hidden its shadow, protected I join night. It's beautiful to actually explore darkness as a form of protection, not a form of danger there. That's really beautiful. And that's a whole other, that sense of being hidden in its shadow. Interesting, so beautiful. Talk to us about writing this from Psalm 23.
Well, just on that note, I really, I see light and darkness in gradations like a rainbow with
Uh-huh.
a panoply of facets, which are embedded throughout the poem, I think, not to be feared, but permitting us to join night as we eventually do. I called it this day because each day is a different journey, but also each psalm is a different journey.
Yep.
And for me, I don't believe in God, I think, as you know, or a higher power, and it's a conundrum to study and make sense of everything. So here I just used an unmodified word, guided.
Uh-huh.
Is it my dead ones whispering, or wisdom of shepherds in my life, which is interesting because it harkens back to that beautiful offering, you know, the shepherds. There you are, and you send the shepherds. So maybe there's hope for me. But I tried to track the verses and hew closely to the imagery. The meal for me is a feast because it's simple and it's ample and it's
Yep.
sustaining and it's shared with the creatures of the night, hopefully not Rocky Horror Show creatures, but maybe a fox, coyote, you know, that glistening eye in the distance, or maybe my demons staved off, and even acceptance. The whole journey is accompanied by acceptance and protection. And maybe the sense this day of being protected. And then it ends beneath the one tree. I had the one tree because I was thinking of the tree of life, because in this psalm, it seems like, you know, forever, you're going to be alive forever. And I researched, and there's so many different ideations of the tree of life, depending on the religion and the geography. Some Native American tribes think of the cedar, the red cedar, which is actually a juniper, as being the tree of life. And they live to 1,500 years and they emit the scent. And I was thinking of Havdalah and the spicy scent that we have. So that was
beautiful, really beautiful. You're an amazing poet, Sherry, and this really, it takes us on a whole journey, and also quite different than some of the other ones you've written. This is actually feels very peaceful. It's not all. So I love to see the range of how you're exploring. And I honestly, I love that opening of just guided. Is that we're guiding? Can I see it, Harold? What is the opening word? Yeah, guided, this day of plenty. What a beautiful way to dive into this Psalm of 23. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai Roi Lo Achsar. Look at that. That's just beautiful. Very, very, very creative. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. All right, Stephen Deem. Is Stephen here today?
Yes, I am. I'm unmuting myself. Hi. So please don't read along because I don't know what generation it was, and I don't want, you know, to disturb your unconscious minds as I'm doing it. But this is my offering for Psalm 23. Mizmor LeDavid, my Psalm of David. Elohim Roi Lo Exar, the light guides me, no worries. Benot Desha Yerabetzeni Al Me Minochot Yunahaleni, in green fields by quiet waters where I lay me, a deep dream sleep overtakes me. Nafshi Yeshovev, Ankeni V'Malgalei Tzedek Laman Shemo, revitalized, I join the magical justice band to increase the light. Gum ki elef begates al mavet, and even if I walk on the edge of death's shadow, lo irara, there is no fear of fear here. The light is in me. Ki ata imadi. My moral compass comforts me and beams me into states of cosmic harmony. Shivtika umishtaka hema yanachamoni. Tararoch lefanai. Shulchan neged soradai. A picnic is set in eyesight, with a feast of troubles and worries to write. Deshantav Hashemen Roshi. Now a sweet scented fuel empowers my might, and its radiant glow re-enlightens my light. Kosi Revaya. Ah, wait, there's more. Tov Chesed Yaradafuni, goodness and mercy chase after me, Kol Yemei Chaya, all the days of my life, and I will continue to sit in a symphony of light and burn bright for as long as I am able. V'shavti b'veit Elohim, leorach yamim, more light.
Wow, Stephen, and what a great performance. What a performative performance.
Well, thank you. I've been working on it
Fabulous.
for a
And I
couple of
love,
weeks.
and I think that was a great model of actually integrating the Hebrew with the English. That was lovely to do that, and very, very creative. So tell us about doing that, and tell us how you got from Psalm 23 to where you were.
Well, first of all, it's a great shout out to Harold because he offered the challenge to memorize. So I decided to learn Psalm 23 to integrate the internal language into my body.
Fantastic.
Now, I wasn't going to write one because I was so busy learning it. And then when we started talking about offerings, I said, well, let me just lay it down and put my verses next to the other. And then I realized the poetry of the interaction between the Hebrew and the
Beautiful.
English. And I tried to match the meter and the, I forget the poetic word, the apendapomia, the what sounds like. So I wanted to
Onomatopoeia.
onomatopoeia. So I wanted to find words that sound like, and I started having fun. And that's how it happened. There are certain things I would like to point out, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
It's my use of the word Elohim. Now, I was rehearsing Adonai. I don't like Adonai because to me it means Lord, and we got to get away from it. I tried Havaya, and I tried Hashem. I settled on Hashem. And then for some reason, I'm not really sure why, I did Elohim. Now I like Elohim because it comes from Genesis and I'm writing about the light. And Elohim is plural, but it's treated like singular.
Yep.
So I thought it's a wonderful way to incorporate he, she, it, man, all of us into one space. But I knew I was right when I got to the last line. For me, V'shafti b'veit Elohim, liorach yamim. It rhymed. So that's my story. I had a great
Beautiful. Well, Stephen, I just love it. And I love the creativity of using the Hebrew and your interpretation and integrating the two and actually making a singular piece out of both the original Hebrew, but your interpretation, and then doing it with such a great performance. And with that rhyming energy, there was certainly, although we weren't reading it, we could certainly hear the relationship in a very dramatic way. Thank you, Stephen. Just love it.
Thank you all. I couldn't do it, of course, without the haruva.
Yep, exactly.
Well,
that's really, it's really fun.
From our study, so I didn't have to translate to English. I had to go right to the Hebrew.
Great.
Beautiful.
Thank you. And Stephen, if you have an updated version that reflects this that you'd like to email me, please do. Let's see. The next one is Ora Ezrahi. Let me get this back up on the screen. Or will you be doing a performance, or should I show your text?
You can show my text. Thank you, Harold.
I never know any longer.
Yeah, we have such a creativity crew.
Musings on Psalm 23. Where is my shepherd? Do I need to know, see, hear, Does it matter much? Or is it enough to have faith that I'm guided to take the right path? Is it still enough when I am so encircled by my mind's torment? When it feels hopeless and my soul is trapped in fear, longing for release? Sometimes I feel you near my soul and in my heart, whispering so loud. I long for safety when I walk through life's travails, surrounded by doubt. You nudge me along, aiming for the opening away from my fears. Your sweet salve heals me, streaming down my ancient face. My eyes open wide. There's more. I see the table set before me, bathed in light. I am enfolded. I breathe the sweet scent of your merciful wisdom, abounding in love. I yearn to live there in your radiant goodness, infinitely safe.
Oh, Aura, I just love this. I just love this. And the sense at the very end of I yearn to live there infinitely safe. That's just so real, so genuine, so powerful. Okay, talk to us about writing this.
I think it really just kind of reflects my state, which is, I feel like my faith is the phobia of my doubts. So I'm surrounded by doubts, but there's this desire and this pinpoint of faith that I keep chasing after, to kind of focus my life with. So it's like, I go back and forth.
Yeah.
Is it I want it to be real, but my mind wants proof.
Yep. The honesty is so compelling, and that's you're reflecting this on a very deep human truth, right? We want to be able to feel like there's that protection or safety, but we're skeptical. It's how we're built, right? We're skeptical, we're doubters, and it's in that tension that we find some deep truths, and that is really present here.
Yeah, well, yeah, and my work and my background are all about, getting the facts.
Yeah.
Using that to determine things. So here's something that, what are the facts?
Yeah.
How do I interpret what I see?
Yeah, very, very, very powerful. And I like the structure of it.
Yeah, I find the haiku makes it easier for me to work. In earlier days when I would write poetry in a different emotional state, it would just kind of flow out. This is a little harder. So the haiku kind of helps me.
I like it a lot. It gives it a rhythm and a structure that takes the reader, certainly takes me along with you in a very river-like way. Like we can't stop. The movement is moves us forward to that final infinite, that yearning for infinite safety, which I think is a powerful read of this psalm. And I really, really love it. Thank you, Aura.
Thank you, Aura. Judy Frank.
Adonai is my guide through my life. I am led past streets dark and wide. Adonai, I know you never leave me. The one constant feeling I reach for. You, Adonai, comfort me. When I feel alone, you will always be there for me. When I reach out to you, every day, forever, surrounded by your goodness. I don't know.
Judy, talk to us.
Oh, well.
Through my life. Wow.
I wasn't going to do this because the old version that I used to do is so fulfilling to me that I didn't know if I could add anything to it. I was going to do a collage, but then I didn't have enough time. I spent too much time thinking about what it would be like to actually do it. My kids came up last weekend, so I had family early Father's Day. So this is what came out from when I thought to do something.
Beautiful. The one constant feeling I can reach for, you, Adonai, comfort me. When I feel alone, you will always be there for me. Every day, forever, surrounded by your goodness. That is very powerful. Very powerful. Thank you so much. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm led past streets dark and wide. We all know what that feels like, right?
That's right.
That's right. Thank you, Judy. And by the way, it's not too late to do a collage, you know.
Right. We'll work on that. Yeah.
Michael,
Hello. Goodness is my pastor. I am content. Goodness provides me fertile fields and calm streams, makes fresh my existence, instructs me correctly. That is the good. Although I feel profound negativity, goodness counters it with tools of the pastor, feeding me in front of my internal and external enemies. Goodness anoints me. My being is fulfilled. The love of goodness seeks me throughout my existence, so I live in the dwelling of the good for my entire life.
Wow, Michael, you have your follow through on goodness has proven itself to really have expression in each of these Psalms. Goodness is my pastor. Wow, very powerful. So speak to us, Michael.
Well, I used the translation of the Levi, and then I worked through my understanding of the language, and that's how I came this, because I didn't want to use Adonai. I wanted to use the concept of the good and goodness, and so that's how I worked through it.
And what this sentence is very, goodness counters it, the negativity. Although I feel profound negativity, goodness counters it with the tool of the pastor, feeding me in front of my internal and external enemies. Goodness anoints me, by being is fulfilled. And I really love this. The love of goodness seeks me through my existence, that you're feeling pursued by goodness. That's really beautiful.
You understood that. I had struggled with the word order there, the idea of goodness chases me.
I know, I love that. I think that's very powerful. And I think, and you know, the question is, like with the Moshe story, do we stop long enough to see that? Or do we experience, do we let ourselves get in the way of seeing where goodness is actually around us? And sometimes, as you know, we're our own worst enemies in this regard, right?
Yeah, and I think that the psalmist is endorsing the idea of Adonai and goodness, and that
I hope so. And I think your read of this is a very beautiful prism.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael, there was
Thank
a
you,
question
Michael.
from Chazan Hirsch about your choice of the word of pastor instead of shepherd.
I looked it up in the dictionary, and I use that as the synonym.
Okay, great, thank you. Donna
Thank
Gray,
you.
please step up to the podium.
We'll wait for you to walk up front, Donna.
Okay, I'm almost there. Okay. Mother God is my shepherd. My every wish may not be granted, but I have everything I truly need. When I lose my way, she watches over me. She leads me to a sanctuary of green meadows where I can lie down in peace. She guides me to the calm waters that gently soothe my soul. She illuminates my path with the light of truth. She eases my heart open and brings me back to life. Even though the shadow of death follows me wherever I go, I am not afraid, because Mother God, you are with me. Your rod and your staff comfort me as they right my wrongs and show me the way home. You set a bountiful table before me, no matter what might conspire to keep me from it. You anoint my head with healing oil and fill my cup to overflowing. Surely goodness and loving kindness will be with me all the days of my life, and I will live in your house for eternity. Amen.
Beautiful, Donna. Love the gendered female references, and love the diving right into Mother God is my shepherd. So speak to us.
So, you know, I've been so aware of how this psalm is used so much for comfort in times of distress. You know, and I'm remembering somebody that I knew who was really in a dark night, who was really saved by the direction to read this psalm over and over and over. And I wanted to stick close to the psalm and at the same time make it more personal to me so it could be my own. And I just tried to feel into what really, I wrote it for myself, what really speaks to me. And something that I had trouble with was the way that it shifted from third person to second person. And I worked that out for myself by starting to talk directly. I'm not afraid because Mother God, you are with me. That's how I transition in a way that didn't feel so clumsy.
Mhm.
And
I love this. My every wish may not be granted, but I have everything I truly need by creating, by really going directly into that issue. What does it mean to be content? And what does it mean, lo echsar, to not need something? You're acknowledging it doesn't mean you get everything.
right.
And distinguishing between wishes and needs is a very, very, it's poetically done and it's very powerful. So love it. And so you can see that the difficulty in taking something you know really well or have such preconceptions about, but look at the incredible creativity you're bringing to it. I'm just really loving these offerings today.
I questioned whether I could do it because, I'm like you with the King James version, in the
Yeah.
leadeth and thou and thee and all of that. And, that really speaks to me. So like I tried my best to make it personal to myself so that it would still speak to me. And I intend to reach for it when I need to.
And it will influence you when you say the King James Version. That's the power of Psalms, is that it keeps layering on top. And I also love this phrase, show me the way home. Isn't that kind of sums it all up, right? Show me the way home. Show me the way to place of, and then to your house for eternity. Where is that sense of being infinitely safe? Beautiful.
And,
Donna.
the thought of, well, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, even though death follows me wherever I go, ever since, especially during these days of COVID and so much death around us, like I'm just really so tuned into how death is just could come at any time. And, being aware of that and, staying grounded in faith.
Beautiful. Thank you, Donna.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Barbara Grindell. Thank you, Donna.
I must have,
No, you just muted yourself again.
we must have done it at the same time.
No, you just muted yourself again. I'm not muting you. You keep on doing something.
All right. I am unmuted, yes?
Yes.
And I didn't touch it, so I don't know what's going on, but okay. Ooh. Shekinah is my shepherd. I feel fulfilled. She leads me to green pastures and lands of 1,000 lakes and ponds, providing calm and tranquil waters. There I can restore my soul and move in a path towards justice and gratefulness, which is her way. I am not afraid to feel the darkness at times. I feel secure, remembering that feelings are fluid. I know you are by my side to guide and comfort me. I can lean on you as if you are my walking stick. I have tools to deal with whatever comes my way. You set a feast for me under the sparkling, shining stars, and when the moon is full, it lights up the sky for all to see. My cup is overflowing. Shekinah, I feel my way to a life filled with goodness, kindness, and peace as I dwell in your house all my days.
Wow, Barbara, beautiful. Talk to us.
When I think about wanting to do a psalm, I really have to say, I don't know where it comes from until I get like I guess a spark comes. And if anybody's worried about wondering about the 1,000 ponds, lakes and ponds, it's where I live right now in Cape Cod. I knew there were a lot of of water, in Cape Cod. I didn't know the number until I looked it up, and it's actually very close to 1,000. It's like 998 or something. not including the bay and the ocean. This is just the lakes and ponds. And I really do love it here. And I really think that being in Cape Cod does restore my soul. And so once I said, oh, it's Cape Cod, then everything sort of came into place. The middle section of darkness, when I was in Haruta and I had to talk about a shepherd, I remember saying, I said both things, and I said, I'm keeping this for my psalm, that my feelings are fluid, so that if it's darkness, which everyone has times of darkness, they won't last. Those feelings are fluid. They will leave, and goodness and light will come back. And it was the same thing with the tools. When I ended with, I have the tools to deal with whatever comes my way. Well, I certainly hope so. Maybe that's, maybe we don't know yet, but I do feel that way most of the time, that I have the tools, they're in place, and that I will be able to deal with whatever comes. When I got to the feast, I made the table, the sky, because I've talked about this before, how I love looking at a sky on a dark night, a clear night, like last night was beautiful. And when you can see the moon and the stars and the moon just lights up the whole, that's the table for me. That's what I'm feasting on. And that makes me feel like my cup is overflowing. And the line about lighting it up for all to see, that took in friends and enemies at the same time, since it included everyone. And I definitely wanted a female presence, so I used Shekinah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I am not afraid to feel the darkness at times. I feel secure, remembering that feelings are fluid. I know you are by my side to comfort and guide me. I can lean on you as if you are my walking stick. I have the tools to deal with whatever. So beautiful reference to the original Psalm and using it in an original and interesting way. I really love that. And yeah, I love the imagery of Shekhinah. I can feel my way to a life filled with goodness, kindness, and peace as I dwell in your house all my days. So it has an acknowledgement that it's a process, it's a journey. You're on a journey. It's not all, tied up in a bow.
Exactly.
Really beautiful to get to a place. What is it about the use of Cape Cod and the light and the water? Very powerful.
And a lot of green.
Understanding that these places and these people that bring you comfort or strength are ultimately, as somebody said I can't remember whose psalm it was, said, maybe it was Marilyn, that God is the source of the guides we receive in life, whether they're inanimate or animate, right? We receive guides at different moments to teach us things, and understanding that it might be part of a much bigger puzzle and a much bigger process and a much bigger plan is very powerful. Beautiful, Barbara.
Thank you.
So given that we're going to go on tomorrow and probably into Monday, I don't think there's any reason to hurry up. We will pick up tomorrow with more offerings. It was interesting how many people said, I wasn't going to write about Psalm 23 because I was so familiar with it, and then wrote such beautiful things. And I always thought of the feast set out before mine enemies during the daytime, and both Sherry and Barbara have an evening feast under the stars. I will read the Psalm differently now.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Really beautiful. And it is interesting to take a Psalm we know so well, or many of us know well, and then to find new and really extraordinary insights into it. So thank you all.
All right, everybody. I think that's it for today, right, Rabbi? No big announcement?
So for today, our room will stay open a little bit. And tonight we have our first in-person board meeting at CBST. So some of you who are on the board, I'll see you in person. Others will be on Zoom. It's a hybrid board meeting, which they all are, by the way. Even before COVID, not everybody can make it to every board meeting, but we are having an in-person board meeting for the first time in 15 or something months, right, Harold?
Well, right. The last one, we had an executive committee meeting in person, and then I think we probably had our first March board meeting on Zoom. I don't know.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
The March board meeting was.
All right, well.
So see you tonight, whoever from the board will be here tonight.
All right.
Shahashiyanu moment.
Yes, it is. All right.
Okay, the room will stay open for a few minutes, and see everybody tomorrow. I'll be back in my apartment for Psalms tomorrow morning. And Parrot says, have a good day, everybody. Have a good day. Seid gesund.